Hello! In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a dice using conditional statements and variables. The conditional statements are found in the logic category and the variables are found in the variables category. I'll be explaining these when I get to them. The first thing I'm going to do is name my project. I'm going to call it Conditional Dice. And I'm going to delete these two blocks, so my right hand side is clear of code. Now I'm going to go to the input category and drag out the block on button A pressed. So when we press the A button on the microbit, it's going to run our code. Now I'm going to make my variable. I'll explain shortly what a variable is. I click on the variables category and then I click on make a variable. I'm going to call it number. When you make a variable, you get new block options. The block we need is this one. This block sets our variable to something. The shape of this block is the same as this gap here. So if we click and drag, when it highlights, we can release and the two blocks will connect. Now I need to go to the math category. I need to scroll down and you need to pull out pick random. This block is the same shape as this here. So if I click and drag, it will highlight. If I release, it will insert. I need to change the 0 to a 1 and the 10 to a 6. So what is a variable? A variable is something that we can assign data to. So in our example, our variable is called number, and we are assigning it data that is a randomly picked number between 1 and 6, including 1 and 6. The data assigned to a variable can change depending on what is done to it. When we press A new random number is picked, and then it is assigned to our variable. Because it's random, it could be the same number each time, or it could be different. Next, we will be adding our conditional statements. We are using conditional statements to find out which random number has been assigned to our variable. So, what is a conditional statement? A conditional statement is a set of rules that are performed if conditions are met. We will find our conditional statements in the logic category. We're going to be using this block here. This if statement checks to see if this condition has been met, and then if it has, it will run the code that's in here. If the condition has not been met, then this code in here will not run. Instead, it will go to the next part. But in this example, there is nothing else, so nothing else will happen. If we press this add button, we get a new part to our statement. We get an else. An else runs if all the statements before it have not met their conditions. So in this example, there is only one condition before it. If this condition is not met, then the code here does not run, and instead it goes to the next part, which is the else, and the else runs its code straight away. If we press the add button, we get a new part. It's called an else if. An else if acts the same way as an if. It checks to see if its condition has been met, and then it runs its code if it has. And if it hasn't, it goes to the next part. As we have 6 possible numbers, we need 6 parts to our conditional statement. We're going to press this plus button 3 more times. When running through a conditional statement like this, it starts from the top and it goes down until one of the conditions has been met. Once the condition has been met, that code will run and nothing else will happen. We need to add this block to the block for our dice. So we're going to click and drag and we're going to insert it underneath set variable. This is also inside of the block for the button. Now we're going to build our conditions. So if we go to the logic category and we drag out comparison, this means something is equal to something. We're going to go back to variables and we're going to drag out our variable name. This block is the same shape as this here, so we can click and drag and drop it inside. This now means our variable is equal to, and we're going to say 1, as 1 is the first number it could be. This block is the same shape as this part here, so if we click and drag, we can insert it. So this if statement now has this condition. So the condition is the variable is equal to 1. Looking back at the whole thing, when we press button A, our variable is assigned a randomly picked number between 1 and 6, including 1 and 6. It then goes on to the conditional statements and it says if the variable is equal to 1, so if the assigned number is 1, then run this code. The code we are going to run is going to be the face of a number 1 dice. So we're going to go to basic category, drag out show LEDs, and insert it into the gap below the if. The number 1 dice face looks like this. So if the assigned number to our variable is 1, it's going to show this face on the microbit. We need to fill in the other ifs for all the other possible numbers it could be. So I'm going to fill in the next 4. We have now filled in all of our if statements, but we still have to fill in our else. The else runs if all the conditions before it have not been met. So if it's not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, and not 5, the only other possible number it could be is 6. So we just put in the LEDs for the 6th dice face. Our code is now complete. This now means if we press the button A, it's going to set our variable to a randomly picked number between 1 and 6, including 1 and 6, and then it will run through the conditional statements to find out which number has been assigned to the variable, and then it will show the dice face for that number. If we press A, we can now test our code.